Yes, here we are. Just a little late. Normally, when you're seeing us live, it's Wednesday at noon Eastern Time. Right now, it is Wednesday at 12:03 Eastern Time. Having a bit of the technical issues. Not sure why. I know when you were trying to go fix your stuff, Beach, my internet went completely out and
Huh?
then came back on. So if there's a problem during the show, everyone, you've been forewarned that the tech ghosts got a hold of us today. Welcome everyone to the High Noon Hemp Show. You may have heard the siren; they just set off, heralding our arrival. Of course, you can watch us live and video on demand every week or whenever you want, anytime you want. That's Facebook, Hemptations Beach, YouTube, Jedi Hemp, and Twitter at Hemptations. The podcast, of course, you can find on Google Play, Podbean, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Excuse me. Just search the High Noon Hemp Show, and you will find it. I'm Stoner Jesus. He is Beach, high above the Hemptations in Sharonville, Ohio, at the Hemp Quarters. Besides the tech issues, Beach, how are things this week in the world of
Things are
Hemptations?
pretty good, I guess. I'm gonna get some. I got a couple pictures to
Oh,
send over that
I forgot about
that I
those too.
didn't get over, of course. So I'm not ignoring everyone by having my head turned. I'm multi-screening right now, of course. So welcome everyone to the High Noon Hemp Show. I might sound a little funny because my headphones actually aren't working. I'm not sure what's going on with my microphone. Everything's all out of whack, but here we are. We're going to do this one way or another. And remember, the FDA has not evaluated this show for safety or efficacy. So
Indeed.
we'll see if we don't get some let me know if you get those pictures over there. Oh man, what a day. I did find, and I've been, again, because I'm moving stuff around and whatnot, bunch of my old cotton t-shirts. I found the first shirt that I ever purchased that supported hemp. And this was it was the same place that I picked up my first copy of The Emperor Wears No Clothes. It was a normal festival up in kind of the midwestern side of Ohio that we went to when I was in college. And so it's kind of interesting because the shirt on the back, it's got this list. This is marijuana facts. But then it goes on to tell you all these facts about hemp, not marijuana, which I think is kind of funny. There it is. There's my good old. I should have maybe showed a picture of the first because it was it was a normal event. This would have been 30 years ago, almost exactly, probably around 30 years ago, that I purchased my first pro hemp t-shirt. Now, again, if you know, my first hemp product was purchased at Kings Island. And of course, these were cotton t-shirts, but it's still got the message through there. It's got food facts, paper facts, history facts, all kinds of facts about the marijuana we call hemp. And for the record, it's been hemp for thousands of years, and it's been marijuana for less than 100. Just so everybody knows when it comes to cannabis, how that timeline really works out. It really should say cannabis facts, but even then, of course, it was normal. So they were the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, and they still are. And so, they still support pro hemp laws and whatnot as well. But they're on the THC Delta 9 side of things when it comes to that. This next t-shirt that I have, I really like this one just because this was Mama Indica's, and I was talking about whole seed foods a couple weeks ago or last week, I don't remember, and Mama Indica's was one of the original whole hemp seed food products that were out there, and again with a very, very pro hemp message, plant hemp indeed. And so, definitely a couple of my favorite shirts. And I'm gonna pull some more of these out of here and go back 20, 30 years and see what I can find for my original line of shirts that weren't hemp for the most part, because I had to slowly get the hemp stuff, and there weren't just a whole lot of. It's not like anybody there. I think they had a hemp shirt possibly at the festival, but it was probably like really expensive or something.
Yeah.
We probably didn't have a whole lot of them. So, it is what it is. But, I do have a whole line of cotton t-shirts, unfortunately, made out of cotton, unfortunately, but are pro hemp, fortunately. Something like that. Sometimes it's the message, not the don't what is it? Don't hate the message, hate the messenger. No, that's the opposite. So we can hate the messenger, which is the cotton t-shirt, but we love the message, which is pro hemp. How about that? That's a new twist. Turning that around so you can actually hate the messenger. No. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway. All right, let's get on with it here on the High Noon Hemp Show. Let's go with jump right into the product spotlight, which is 4 from the store, 1 from my door. The first one is our new batch of hemp flower that we just got in. This is a Lifter Suver Sour Haze, I believe, in Sour Haze, Suver, sorry. But these are decently, I think, anywhere between 15 to 18% CBD. So, that is a decent amount of CBD and should, get the job done depending on how you use it therapeutically, one way or another. And of course, if you want to wrap that hemp in some hemp, how about some Kush hemp wraps? Yeah, that's right. You can wrap your hemp in hemp in hemp. It's a double hemp bonus. Multiple flavor breakdowns there with your Kush hemp wraps. I was up in Dayton and I counted, and I haven't actually done it here to see, but we have roughly 42-ish or so different types of hemp wraps to choose from in the store. So here's your good old Kush anyway. And I like the way they've got these lined up in kind of the rainbow order there. They Roy G. Bibbed it. Good for them. The next one is the Just Hemp soap. And this is Just Hemp soap. Hemp is great for the skin and the body, whether it's internally or externally. So no reason not to get clean with a little hemp in your soap. And the last one, because I guess I can officially say that we're in the holiday season. Halloween is over. I guess I'm okay with knowing that, basically November and December are the full holiday season at this point. So, maybe whatever holidays you celebrate, if you want to send somebody a card, go old school on them. Give them a card. Yeah. Make that card out of hemp. And I'll probably do these again, like right before the real, all the holidays kick in. I think there's I forget, at least 5 holidays in a 2-week span, maybe 7 totally out of all the holidays that we, should respect. It can be Christmas season for some, and it can be Hanukkah for others, or it can be any one of the other holidays that may or may not get celebrated in that little time span. So it's all good. Work it into the system. Now, the one from my door, I suppose, is my round table. I love this round table. Someday, if I have some hemps of the round table, this is the table. There won't be a whole lot of us, I guess, but yeah. It's not a very big round table. But it is a hemp table. And I really like this table because the top actually comes off. And then there's actually a no longer secret compartment on the top of it. If you want to store those round table goods that you may or may not need. This is a custom table, so made here at our Hemp Wood shop. And that's wood, WOULD. Hemp wood, because it did. There it is. My hemp round table. Thank you very much for watching the High Noon Hemp Show. That was the product spotlight. 4 from the store, 1 from my door. I have not. I went right to my channel that time. That was interesting. I'm on YouTube. I watch the YouTube feed. If anybody's out there wants to communicate with me on the YouTube Jedi Hemp channel, you can also type anything in at Hemptations Beach, and it'll pop up on the screen there, and we can say if you have any questions or comments or anything like that. Sure do thank everybody for watching.
Indeed. And of course,
Now,
brings us to some of you may tuned in at noon and we weren't here yet. And you may have started freaking out. You said, what am I going to do? I'm not getting my fix. I'm not getting my beachwear fix today. Have no fear, because you are. Because the only thing I need to do in this instance is ask Beach one question, which I will do right now. What are you wearing, Beach?
what are you wearing? Beach. That's right. Every Wednesday here on the High Noon Hemp Show, we go through my outfit because I wear hemp head to toe every day. This is just what I have on today. On top there, I've got my hemp and ale. My favorite old hats when hemp and ale. I don't believe that hemp and ale still exists, but it was a beer. They had a light and a full flavored at one point or another. So it's good old hemp and ale hat. I have to go to hempandale.com and see what they're doing these days. That is an old Two Jupiters hoodie. I have a couple of these from back in the day. Probably going to be breaking out my hoodies more because we kind of get that true fall weather now. I thought it was going to get cold, but it's kind of true fall weather. Kind of chilly in the mornings, but then by the afternoons it's halfway decent. And a hoodie is that's the universal. Can be warm, can be not kind of outfit, I guess. Put your hood up if you need it. Put your hands in the pockets if you need it, one way or another. Underneath that, I have my Hemptations U leaf print t-shirt. So there's little leaves, so if you can't see them inside the white there. You got a Hempy's belt holding up my Kentucky Hemp Outfitters jeans. And, of course, in the pocket of those jeans, as usual, is my Green Springs Technology pen. Pair of I Love Bad briefs. And then underneath the jeans, we got a pair of Hempest socks and a good old pair of Adidas shell toes. I think that's one of my newer. They're old, but they're newer because I haven't worn them a lot. I might have worn them just recently on the show. I'm getting my wear out of these because I just found them in a box, I suppose, one way or another. So there you have it. If you woke up today and you said, what are you wearing, Beach? Now you know. From head to toe, because it's always hemp. I gotta edit my script here because I left my briefs off of my list. I don't want to, in the future go back and be like, well, what pair of underwear was I wearing that day? Because sometimes that's important to know. Oh, cover it up. Here I am. All right, well, let's get on with the news because there's quite a bit of it again this week in the old hemp world. Here's some international news, which is, kind of interesting because I wouldn't have thought this because Germany is pretty hemp positive, I think, as far as growing industrial hemp and using industrial hemp and things. But apparently hemp and CBD still have to be removed from the German Narcotics Act, which they are talking about doing and are hopefully going to do soon. To again take that stigma away. Same thing we had to do here. Hemp is it's legal to grow in Germany, and nobody pays any attention to the hemp farmers for the most part. But now with all the CBD stuff kind of popping up, the laws may not be exactly what people think they are. So because it's just always been looked at as two different things. Like hemp has probably never been in the eyes of the government as marijuana until now with CBD. Same as probably in France, a lot of the European countries that grow industrial hemp. It was never looked at as the drug part of the plant and still isn't. But on the books, on the paper, it might be a little different. And I think that's because there's some stuff going down because some hemp farmers that were growing for CBD in Germany, they got arrested and they have since been released. I think that's part of the confusion of the laws on paper in Germany when it comes to hemp, CBD, marijuana, all that stuff. So hopefully they're going to get all that straightened out to protect the farmers and ease that burden of worry on them that has basically just happened recently because of hemp flower, not because they just started growing hemp, because again, they've been growing for fiber and probably grain for a while. So here in the United States, and I've been, talking about Delta 8 quite a bit. It's, the controversial cannabinoid right now. Things will work out.
You were forewarned at
Um,
the beginning of the show.
what's that?
You all were forewarned at the beginning of the show that tech
It is
issues
true.
with the tech.
Hey there, I think you finally did catch up. Anyway, 14 states have made D8 illegal. So, and I think the most surprising is Colorado. And I know there's some states where you can only go and get D8 in the dispensaries and whatnot too, but Colorado making Delta 8 illegal, it seems so backwards for them. I don't know, it seems so confusing. So, we have one FDA approved CBD drug for seizures. It's a child's drug, actually, inhaler. So now there's going to be a clinical trial for a CBD powder for epilepsy. And so that's going to be kind of interesting to see how that works. But it's, it's going to be a double-blind placebo. They're doing it. It's a clinical study. And I believe, once again, they're trying to get FDA approval for the CBD to be in powder form as a drug, which again I think is interesting. If that does work, because we have CBD capsules, which is CBD in powder form, suppose that would work just as well. And again, there is no difference between the CBD that gets approved for an FDA drug than the CBD that's in our Temptations brand products, or should be in any product out there that touts itself as a CBD product. And so, it does not matter. It's all the same once it gets down to that molecule, so to speak. Isolate, full spectrum, whatever, doesn't matter. Just a reminder, I've been talking about it, but CBD for your pets is now illegal in Idaho. So if you live in Idaho and you give your animal, your pet, CBD, don't tell anybody. I don't know. I don't know what the criminal charges are. I just know that it is illegal to sell it in the stores or anywhere for pets, which means, we're going to have, to come up with a line of human treats safe for pets. So you can, excuse me, get yourself a treat and slip it to your animal and it'd be legal. Because I'm not sure that it's illegal to give pets CBD. It's just now illegal to sell anything for pets to consume that has CBD in it. Good job, Idaho. You went about 17 steps backwards with that one. And again, when I said this, as I was talking about this happening, is that obviously the politicians in Idaho believes that it doesn't mind. It's okay for humans to have it, but it's not okay for the same humans that can choose to have it for themselves to choose to have it for their pets. Like anybody's gonna like if it was harmful, pet owners would give it to their pets because they wouldn't, and so it's just so silly. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Supposedly, there are some organizations that are trying to get this law overturned or changed one way or another in Idaho. Here's a recent study out of California college showed that leather is 10 times more negative on the environment, and also making synthetic rubber. And this was all about shoes, earth friendly. The article itself was really about earth friendly shoes and how we should use hemp in them. But it also says that making synthetic rubber makes more waste than the actual rubber that it makes. So at the end of the day, you have your rubber sole for your shoe, goes on your shoe, and you have more waste that has to be destroyed to safely removed. And again, this has always been my objective, my argument against synthetic goods. It's not the goods themselves, because they are often superior and work better than anything that we can get naturally, but the waste to make these products is the worst of it. It obviously can't be reused, it can't be recycled, it has to be just obviously coming up with something that we could use this waste in would be great, but if not, it probably just gets barreled and stacked up, and then somebody somewhere that doesn't know has a landfill that accepts it or something. I don't, and so that's the biggest issue with any type of waste. So we're better off not to make synthetic rubber than we are probably just to use regular rubber somehow if the waste is like that. And then, of course, we can replace almost all leather with hemp. Leather jacket, you can make a hemp canvas jacket out of it. It does repel water pretty decently and whatnot. But, there really is no reason to put leather on shoes anymore, as well. And so, I thought I put my thing on silent. What happened? I'll tell you what.
I have to mention something on the theme of things being weird as far as technical issues are going. I'm watching the Twitter feed, and I'm gonna go ahead and pull it up because it's very weird. It's better just to pull it up and look at it than to try to describe it. That's us right there. It's the show. We're wearing the clothes we're wearing now, so the show is broadcasting, but there is zero background on the show, and the graphics are different. Even though there we are watching ourselves, the scroll is the same. They have news and events, but the graphics are different, and there is zero background. I have no idea what's going on.
Wow.
I'm at a loss. This has never happened. I've been using the StreamYard for a long time. Then you see us now watching ourselves, and I guess we'll just cascade like that. But it's so. I had to mention that because it's so weird. It's just it's blowing my mind. I don't know what's going on.
Maybe it's some solar flares. The solar flares are affecting the show.
So if you're watching on Twitter, I apologize. I'm sorry. It normally looks better, but there's nothing I can do because I have no idea what's going on.
What a weird day.
Facebook is fine.
Weird day.
The Facebook has the background and the right graphics and all that, but Twitter doesn't. I don't know.
Crazy. Well, bear with us, folks. No matter where you are, we're here. Hopefully, you can.
We're trying.
We're doing the best we can. Still hear my lovely voice one way or another, and
that's right.
We'll just keep doing the best we can.
That's all that
matters. So in North Carolina, and of course, North Carolina's has got some. They've had some really weird stuff. That CBD was almost hemp entirely was almost illegal in the state of North Carolina. They got that worked earlier out in the year. But apparently in High Point, and this to me is just crazy. They went to And I guess I'm assuming that these were like a chain of CBD stores in High Point. But they seized $50,000 worth of counterfeit gummies, and they described it as counterfeit THC gummies and drugs in the article. Okay. Now, the most interesting part about this is it's most likely possible that none of these products are actually illegal, but they were actually packaged in wrappers of real candy and real, like, you've seen the fake Stonios or whatever it might be when it comes to a product that's, not the original candy or whatever that has CBD, whatever, THC. But I think is kind of silly to begin with. I mean, I get it, but if you got Oreo like cookies that you're making, you have THC in them, and then you put them in a blue thing and it says Storios and Stonios or whatever, it just seems so silly to me. So it's just like, why does anybody they want the THC, not the Oreo cookie. Like why do we have to have counterfeit candy to begin with? Which I think is funny, and it's just so ridiculous that obviously this business had invested a lot in this, this CBD, THC, whatever it was. We can legally sell THC Delta 9 in food now, and so it could have been that, and it was a legal industrial hemp. But why they would have to package it in all these candy wrappers, and some of them were the actual candy wrappers. I mean, it looked like it was the actual candy name. They didn't even try to change it to make it some cannabis spoof or something. And so I feel like that's exactly why this happened. But it just seems so silly. So we'll see. We'll see what happens if these were actually illegal products or if they were just illegal because they were the packaging. One way or another, I don't know. I don't know if the store owners actually have a legal claim. Even if it was legal THC, if it was in a Reese's, an actual Reese's package, you can't do that. I know that. And so it's a lot of stuff, and I know packaging is somewhat important, but in this industry, not as much, because people are just looking. If they want Delta 8, they don't care what the package, 9 times out of 10 looks like. They just want the Delta 8. Yeah. So silly. Here is a quote from the DEA, another, which I do love because this is the way it is. Even though the way that they say this DEA agent, and this is the quote: marijuana seed that has Delta 9 tetrahydrocannabinol concentration of not more than 0.3% on a dry weight basis meets the definition of hemp and thus is not under the controlled under the CSE, the Controlled Substance Act. And it's just so funny because, again, the DEA wants to call hemp marijuana. Because really, scientifically, if the DEA agent wanted to be scientific, he would have said cannabis seed that has a Delta 9 tetrahydrocannabinol concentration, not marijuana seed. Okay? Because it's not marijuana seed if he's saying in the sentence that makes it hemp, but he's still calling it marijuana. So it's just so, again, to add more confusion as to what's really going on in the world, the DEA refuses to call hemp cannabis, which is what it is. Just like they should call marijuana cannabis, because that's what it is. But no, still hold to that. They just love that word marijuana because there's, 80 years of propaganda that's still, ingrained in a lot of humans when it comes to marijuana, the word marijuana. here is something super freaking bizarre in this world that I just cannot ever. I'm not sure I can wrap my brain around this. But the gentleman that attacked the Pelosi's, okay, he used to sell hemp jewelry online. This guy supposedly went from just this not far left. I don't know if I'd call it far left, but this left side, he sold crystals and hemp jewelry. And then what's really funny is that was one of the headlines: Pelosi attacker, hemp jeweler. Like, the fact that he made hemp jewelry is why he attacked
It's a gateway.
the Pelosi family. But it's not the case. Apparently, if you when they were searching this guy's history online, at some point, not too long ago, he was in fact on the left side of things, selling hemp jewelry, and then went Trump crazy, I suppose, and went to the far right, so far to the right that he became violent about it, which makes zero sense to me.
It's a very weird story.
Very, very weird story. In all honesty. But I just want everybody to know that he turned. Okay. He became anti-hemp jewelry.
He turned away from the hemp jewelry.
He turned away from the hemp side.
Those trouble started.
And moved to the dark side of violence for political reasons. Oh, man. We're on the good side of hemp here, folks. But it's just super bizarre. And of course, that's got to be the headline.
Yeah.
Not guy turns crazy because of Trumpism and attacks Pelosi family, but Pelosi attacker, hemp jewelry maker. Oh, man. It's just so bizarre. So bizarre. Just really bizarre. Speaking of pets and animals in Idaho, if you have a pet in Idaho and it has arthritis, it's too bad. You can't give it CBD. There was an article, basically, dogs and arthritis. And it had 5 things to give your dog. And number 3 was supplements for joint support. And the number 1 supplement for joint support was CBD. You saw glucosamine, some of the other ones that we know that humans use and we give our animals for arthritis. But CBD was number 1. We have a large amount of humans that use CBD for arthritis in the stores. And so, for your pet makes sense unless your pet lives in Idaho. But once again, you can give your pet human, if you get Hemptations brand, it's in hemp oil. That's it. Hemp oil and CBD. That's all you get. And it is pet friendly as much as it is human friendly. Just drop it on a treat or whatever. And so, if you live in Idaho and you have human CBD, it should be pretty safe, depending on what that actual is in. If it's in chocolate, don't give it to your dog. But if it's, in something that's safe for dogs, then it's safe to give them. Or pets, I should say, not just dogs, because cats, we've got one cat that loves CBD, just loves it. So I finally, after probably 3 years now of reporting about all the CBD gummy scams and the famous people whose names have been used in the CBD gummy scams, finally came across a article / advertisement for these. They were using Dolly Parton and Tyler Perry's names. And, you can almost tell that it's probably a scam because it's like a link. Here's a link to buy Dolly Parton gummies. And then right underneath it's the link to buy Tyler Perry's gummies. Not a link to buy, the name brand. And so I'm almost 100% that this was part of the scammers. And it's interesting to see how they do it. And then, the whole article, it talks about CBD, and then it gives this big list of things that CBD may be good for. And then again, the links to buy Dolly Parton CBD gummies or buy Tyler Perry CBD gummies. And once again, 99.9% sure this is a scam. For those of you that don't know about the scam, it's been going on now for about 3 or 4 years. And what these CBD gummy makers are doing are just using famous people's names. Clint Eastwood has won twice now against them. And I cannot believe, I don't know how they haven't been sued so much they're still in business. I don't know how they're getting away with still doing this. But sure as heck, I'm almost positive that the article I came across it looks like an article, but it's, really an ad, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Using Dolly Parton and Tyler Perry's names. And I'm going to guess that neither one of those probably are real products. I'm kind of pissed off that the 17 best fuzzy socks for winter of 22 doesn't include any hemp socks.
Wow.
I guess there's no fuzzy hemp socks, and some of these socks just look like regular socks, so I don't know what the big deal was. It did include a CBD infused sock, which I think, I guess if you have arthritis in your feet, that makes sense. Again, I implore you to just get some CBD tincture or CBD cream and rub it on your feet as opposed to CBD socks. They can only work for so long, and the CBD clothing thing is sure, it makes sense, like workout clothing, but I feel like you could only wear it once and then the CBD is out and then it's just workout clothing again. So why spend the extra money? Get yourself some hemp cream or lotion or something, and then use that. You could put it on pre-workout and then also use it post-workout if you wanted. Either way. I think, pre-workout, because of, how positively CBD works for our customers for anti-inflammation, you put it on before you go do your workout. And I think that would help the body. And then, of course, if you want to use it for recovery, it's going to help the body. A lot of athletes do admit to using CBD more on the recovery side than the preventative side. But one way or another, it does help. We're finding more and more extreme athletes coming out and saying that, they have CBD, they have hemp, they add hemp food into their diets as well because it's beneficial with the protein and all that. And then they use CBD post-workout or post-fight, as we've seen a lot of mixed martial artists admit to using CBD over the years. So, but no fuzzy socks made out of hemp, just CBD infused. Let's get some fuzzy socks out there made out of hemp. I love the name of this jean company, Gimme, Gimmi. It's an Italian company, Gimme Jeans. But they are, and I do believe I did send you over a picture of a woman in a Gimme Jeans outfit.
Indeed.
It was briefly on the screen for a second earlier. And, I like it. It's just, there's nothing too crazy about it. You got the hemp jacket, hemp jeans. They do have a line of men's as well. I don't know if it's unisex or not. The men's jacket looks a lot like the women's jacket. So that jacket may just be unisex. And I don't know if the jeans are unisex. I did notice that the jeans were stitched a lot like my Kentucky Hemp Outfitters jeans. So I thought that was kind of interesting how they were, very similar stitching one way or another. We love our hemp clothing. That we do. Here's one more, and I have always liked the name of this company, which is Taylor Stitch. And Taylor Stitch, this is their lined shop shirt. and they're using their Boss Duck. And I've talked about their Boss Duck. It is their line of fabric, which is hemp, recycled polyester, and organic cotton. So again, this is their. If you see anything made by Taylor Stitch, and I believe Boss Duck is somebody else may use the Boss Duck fabric. I'm not positive. I know I've seen this before, and it may have just been reporting on Taylor Stitch's clothing. But you find that Boss Duck fiber and fabric, and if it's made of Boss Duck, then it's going to have hemp in it. And it's also organic cotton, which is great. Recycled polyester, which is great. All those are environmentally friendly options for clothing. I can't believe I just yawned. I don't know if I've ever yawned on the show before. I am recovering, I believe, from something. I don't know if I got COVID again because I didn't get tested, or the flu that was going around, but either way, who knows what that was all about. Not a whole lot of events going on tomorrow. And of course, down in Lexington, I think they've got like hemp days going on because I saw multiple events. Tomorrow you have the annual Science of Hemp Conference, Production and Pest Management, down in Lexington at the East S. Good Barn. S. Good Barn, the E. S. Good Barn. And so if you're in the Lexington area and you want to learn about hemp, I'm pretty sure they've got quite a bit of stuff going on. I believe tonight is, I think it was called Girls, or tomorrow night again, Girls Doing It, or something. I don't know, but I am sure that this is all of my women lady friends that I know. Well, I know some of them. Can't say I know all of them, but there are a lot of women in hemp in Kentucky. And it's been that way since, hemp was made legal and they started growing, which I love. No doubt about it. Black farmers are getting involved in hemp, which I think is great. I'm 100% for equality. The CBD market and growing, is pretty, controlled by a lot of money, depending on where you are or whatnot. But anybody can do it. Anybody can grow for grain. Anybody can grow for fiber. Anybody can grow for flour. And I sure like to see more minorities getting involved and benefiting from the legalization of industrial hemp, because I have always, we have said since the state of Kentucky promoted it, hemp equals jobs, and it's still true. November 8th through the 9th, you've got the Pennsylvania Hemp Summit at the Lancaster County Convention Center. That's next week. Make your plans if you're in the Pennsylvania area and you want to check out the Pennsylvania Hemp Summit. They are, pro hemp, and, I think they're trying to do as much as they can to promote the growing of hemp in the state. And of course, they were, one of the bigger growers, I believe, originally, as we colonized the United States, as it moved across with the Europeans, right across Pennsylvania and across the upper part of Ohio. The lower part of Ohio is where we grew hemp here for the most part. November 11th, you've got the Kentucky Hemp Association annual conference in Louisville. So more kind of local area stuff going on. Well, that's about all I got for the show this week. I do appreciate everybody watching in. Normally we close with a question or a beach thought. I didn't have any questions this week. And again, I tend to put my thoughts at the beginning of the show when I can. And so, if I have any thoughts this week, I think that it's, quite interesting to me that the Delta 8 controversy, I should say, is still kind of going on everywhere as we've been moving on to HHC, THCO, THC 9, Delta 9, which we have legally. But everywhere that these products are coming about, especially the Delta 8, for some reason, it was like the first one that was really controversial, making the news, still in the news. Seems so silly that 15 states or so almost. That's almost a quarter, 20%. 20% of the country has made Delta 8 illegal. Only, as much out of fear mongering and just because they don't understand it more than anything else, I think. And then, of course, a lot of the states that have made it illegal, once it's challenged, it's overturned, because if it's extracted from industrial hemp, then it's completely legal. But states, if a state changes its laws, if a state just says Delta 8's illegal, well, that's not true. If it changes, if it makes and votes and says Delta 8 is now illegal, then yes, that's a state law. But if they're just saying it because they think it's illegal because it might be on the federal controlled substance list, then they're wrong. In a lot of states, including Ohio, our state controlled substance lists patterns the federal controlled substance list. So if it's on the federal controlled substance list, then it's illegal in the state of Ohio. They're just, they're lazy like that for the most part. Now, of course, cannabis was decriminalized a long time ago in the state of Ohio, where we have some very friendly cannabis laws. We are a medical state now. We are an industrial hemp state now. But in any of these states that their laws follow the controlled substance list, if a politician says, well, I think Delta 8's on there, and it probably is only if it's comes from marijuana, not hemp, then it's illegal in our state. And that is 100% not true. And once again, now if they go to the state house and they make Delta 8 illegal, they vote on it, that's a whole nother issue. But I think a lot of states have come out, like Texas, I think was a state that just came out and said Delta 8's illegal. It's not. Challenged, overturned, one way or another. Why any state would. Well, I know why they do it. It's a moral thing as much as they're trying to protect their constituents, the people of their state. But without any education, it just seems so silly. Without any science to back it up to whether it's unsafe or not or anything. Seems so silly in today's day and age. But these people still have to rationalize with their jobs. And their job to them is to make sure that everything's okay for you and me, because we can't decide for ourselves.
Pretty much.
I think is the most ridiculous thing about how people still rationalize with the fact that we need politicians. I think if it's a safety issue, then I think they should all be doctors, and anyone who makes the decision to make a drug illegal should actually have scientific proof, not God's word, so to speak, or some moral word, thinking that they're helping us. Prove it's bad or unhealthy, and then go from there. But, in the same sense, I still think cocaine should be legal, because by making it illegal, then you're just providing all those people that want to use cocaine an unsafe version. Mm-hmm. Same as cannabis, same as any black market drug. If it was legal, then you could obtain safe, and you could talk about it, not be in fear. Fentanyl is legal, folks. Fentanyl is killing more people still than anything else. It's legal. And so making something illegal doesn't keep people from it being unsafe. If it's unsafe, it's unsafe. And it should be proven to be unsafe, not just said it's unsafe. We have, I don't know how many, we have to have at least 40 states that are medical in the United States. I feel like there's very little states left that aren't medical.
Yeah.
Which, again, says a lot for the medical movement, which, has never had to go backwards. No one's ever said, oh, wait, we legalized it, but wait, we found out it's not safe. It's not, doesn't do this. It's not medicine. That's never happened. And so it's yet another reason why the federal government needs to take it off the controlled substance list. We need to just open this thing up and make it a lot friendlier. for everybody to use. Ohio's medical is terrible. Some other states are great, and it should be legal everywhere, regardless, because it's a choice that I can make for something to use in my own home if I want to. No different than alcohol or tobacco or sugar or caffeine or any of those other things that are not really good for the human body. All in all, and of course I'm not against anything, and nothing in moderation can kill you, but you got to pick your moderation and you got to know the right levels of whatnot. But I mean, to me, it seems quite absurd that sugar is probably responsible for more deaths than cannabis ever in the history of time. Pure and simple. And there are plenty of other 100% legal substances that, tobacco being the worst. I mean, there's more proof that tobacco is like one of the worst things you can possibly put in your body is to smoke tobacco. Yet 100% legal. I can go to 10 stores anywhere around me right now and buy tobacco. It's just silly. So I guess I had some thoughts after all.
There you go.
And I do appreciate everybody watching. If you're watching live or if you're watching or videoed or recorded later, remember, everybody, reduce, reuse, recycle. Make everything else out of hemp. Having Hemptations.
See y'all next week.